Hi everyone, this is Tony Kerna, the Schaumburg Township District Library's Genealogy Coordinator. Welcome to another one of my podcasts to show you and provide some insights into using another one of our resources for your genealogical research. Today I would like to focus on making you aware of a database that we have available both in the library and also available from home for those of you that are Schaumburg card holders. And the database is called newspaperarchive.com. Just to clarify one other point, if you are someone who's viewing this video and are not part of our library, you can probably double check easily with your own public library from which a library card was issued to you and just find out if they have newspaperarchive.com available to you, and they should very readily share with you exactly how to go about accessing that material. So let's get started with what we have to show you. And probably the very first thing I want to make sure you simply know and how to get to it is you can start very easily by accessing our own library's webpage at schaumburglibrary.org, which I've already done up here. If you now want to access the newspaperarchive.com database, all you have to do from our home page is look down a little bit, look for the icon that basically says Research and Genealogy. Click on that. It's going to take you to the next page where you can select the variety of databases, and our genealogy databases are categorized under a group setting called History and Genealogy, which you see down here. So let's click on that. And again, on that final page before we actually get to the database, you will see you have three choices here. If you want to select to get quickly to it, and you definitely want to select genealogy. So let's click on that. Here is a listing of our databases that we have associated with genealogy. We actually have one that has recently been added to our collection, and that's this one here, American Ancestors. It's provided to us by the New England Historic Genealogy Society, and it does have, I guess, a main resource variety of colonial American records. So this is available to tap into, and I hope at some point in the future to be able to provide you with another screencast giving you some insights into this new database. But anyhow, let's keep scrolling down, look to see these other databases, and we're looking for the one that basically says newspaperarchives.com. So scroll down, they are in alphabetical order, and in this particular case, newspaperarchive.com is our last one on our list here. And as you can see, just from the general description here, it does have over 5,000 newspapers. It's got local, national, international newspapers, and especially for those of you who are doing Chicago, Cook County, Northwest, Northeast metropolitan region of Illinois research, you're going to notice that two of the main component newspapers that can be very helpful to you in your research are the Daily Herald, which is a suburban-based newspaper outside of Chicago. For those of you doing Chicago research, you may be more familiar with the Chicago Tribune and the Chicago Sun-Times. But in addition to that, you will notice that there is a Chicago Daily News newspaper that is also included in the series of newspapers within this database. Historically, it covers a wonderful time for you and your research to tap into, so it's another highlight of the database. If I click on the database link here and you want to hover your mouse cursor over it, it'll highlight with the underline. Click on that. It'll get you to the next page that will allow you to go about and access the database itself. And as you can see, this is a screen you're going to see. And again, this screen is intended for those of you who are already Schaumburg District Library card holders. and have your library card assigned to you that has your library card number on it. Again, as I mentioned earlier, those of you who are not, you certainly are still welcome to look at this screencast I'm going to do. But for you, you would not be able to access our library's databases unless you have a Schaumburg card holder, or that you are a Schaumburg card holder. So anyhow, so I'm going to pause the screen for a little bit while I enter in this data to get me to the database. And if you just hold on a little bit, I will return very shortly. Okay, as you can see, we've now arrived at the newspaperarchive.com website via our own library set of databases that I'd like to now show you and make you a little bit familiar with. For those of you that know me, one of the very first things I tell anybody, be they new to doing genealogical research or are a seasoned researcher, don't get trapped into immediately, as you scroll down, seeing the search box and immediately start putting your name in and just start searching. It's always a good thing to search through the basic introductory page of what the product offers to you. So that's what I definitely want to show you, at least by showing you what's available to you on the screen here. One of the things as you scroll down, you're going to see a map of the United States. And what this allows you to do is basically, and for my purposes of this screencast, we're just going to focus on Illinois. But for anybody else that needs any other research states for their genealogical research, you can click on that and also see. But if I click on the Illinois state representation there, what you're going to see is a series of newspapers, not yet identified, but a series of towns within the state of Illinois that have newspapers contained in this database. And obviously there is Chicago, so that's a big one. But the nice thing for you when you're doing your research, you may very well have ancestors that are certainly not located in Chicago. They may be in the rural areas of Illinois, and here is a perfect place for you to at least initially see if a town is included in here that is of interest to you for your research. And then you would basically click on that town, and I'll just click on DeKalb just to see what we see. And here you're going to see what may be for your purposes, and it does sort of look very narrow ranged in terms of dates, but as you see here, a 1974 to 79 range. Not a very big range, so this may or may not be too helpful to you. But each newspaper within a given geographic area could have a whole variety of different dates, older dates going back. So it's probably worthwhile, again, to at least see what any one of these towns can give you. So let's just see what we got for Chicago here. See, as you can see the difference here, Chicago, that particular part of the database gives you a much broader range of newspaper information that, again, is worth looking at. Here's a listing of all of those little various papers with all of the variety of date spans that would be included in the Chicago newspaper database that you can access here. Chicago Tribune is in here. It's still worth your while to look. But this is at least becoming familiar with what's available as a resource before you even begin your search. Continuing on with that first introductory page, another thing I want to make sure you understand is this newspaperarchive.com database also includes some international papers for you to look at. Maybe it's not what your research is leading you to do research on. Maybe it's only on individual states within the United States, but it's also well worth knowing what's out there. I will say it is sort of a narrow range of countries, although, you know, France, Germany, a lot of countries that would have a big turning to for genealogical research potentially. United Kingdom. Let's just click on that, see what we got. As you can even see here, an incredibly wide range of information available in the United Kingdom version of what's included in the newspapers. Big range, but here again, as we see, maybe not so much in terms of the towns that are included. And I'm just sort of browsing real quick here, and the one thing I don't see, which would interest me, is the actual town city of London. So that does not seem to be included in here, but there may be enough here if you are doing that kind of research, it'll still be helpful to you. So let's go back to the actual search box for the home page of the newspaperarchive.com database. And just for practical purposes, I'm just going to use my own last name as a search, and we'll see what we get. So as you can see, when I just use my last name for searching, I am presented with a grand total of about 758 results. Now, again, sometimes I would say don't just start looking down through the list here because it may or may not be helpful since it's 758 and it's only showing in this starting point 10 items. Again, become familiar. It gives you information by relevancy, what it considers that are more appropriately matched to your search term. You can also select the order of the data that's presented to you by whether it's the most recent first or the oldest first. And as we move over again more even towards the right sidebar here, the newspaperarchive.com does do a nice job of presenting filters already for you on the total of the 758 results found here. You can see it breaks it down by country. So even for Canada, I'm seeing a few in Canada and some in the United Kingdom, but the vast majority in the United States where I would expect to find it. And then if you scroll down a little more, it's going to present it to you in groupings of years of dates for you. So again, if you're looking for combinations of United States, and I'm looking for those that were in the 1940s in the United States, I can click on both of those, and we will now see when I click on Submit Query, it should give us the 39 results total that are combinations of selecting the United States and for that date range that I was looking for. And even at this point, when you get your filtered results down, now you can still scroll down, go to that right sidebar, and now it presents to you the data in alphabetical order by state. So I really do like newspaperarchives.com, how they are presenting this data to you. So definitely something for you to look at and be aware of the orders of how you can arrange the viewing of the data that it presents it to you. And as you can see, it also does a nice little reminder here to tell you that the 39 results that are identified here are presented from these two combinations of filters that you used. So let's go back to the original box. And I'm going to, let's just see here now. We're going to scroll down. I think what I want to do is show you one of the earlier results that I did get. So I'm going to click off of this. I'm going to click in this, the 2000s. I'm going to submit the query. So we're doing the United States. So right now it's going to give us that total of results. I think now I want to show you that I want to present them in, not the relevancy, but in newest first. So again, as you can see, we've got from 2010 through 2009 going further and further. So actually, I do want to show you something a little bit, another combination where instead of even using the decades of full research, you can still continue to filter using the right sidebar. And I'm going to do Illinois, and I'm going to do 2006 because there's actually something in one of these that I sort of pre-looked at to cover here. I'm going to submit the query, and now it's going to give us the 2006 results, and it's going to give them to us in newest first going back in time. So I am looking for one particular one here. Yeah, this is the one that I was looking at earlier. As you can see how it presents it to you, it gives you a little bit of the storyline of what was found in the search term. And so this one really caught my eye when I thought I saw, wow, the dog's owner intervened, saving Karna from further attack. It was a close call, etc., etc. So here from now on, I want to show you when you find something of interest to you, you can click on the actual newspaper title. And as you can see, as I mentioned earlier, the Daily Herald is a significant component of this database. And so now it's going to load up the actual newspaper image of the information for us to look at. And as you can see, it must have something to do with a mailman, which sort of sounds interesting. So this would be something I'd want to be able to read the newspaper article itself a little bit more. But I also want to note for you something, because right now, as you can see, the daily or the newspaperarchives.com database appears to present this information to you as a default in PDF format. But you can flip-flop between PDF and JPEG, and let's just do that so you can see what it is. And actually, I will come back to this after I flip-flop, and before I even do that, you'll see that here are a lot of the tools that you can use within the category of the presentation material. So here's the PDF version, here's the tools you can use, etc. So let's click on JPEG. So it's basically converting what I've already searched on, and it's going to present it to me now in JPEG image. So let's scroll down here. Now, the one thing that I have observed, and I actually do like in this instance, is if you notice, you can see these yellow highlighted names where the last name that I used as my search term, Karna, appears. If you remember in the what we just looked at in the PDF view, that was not automatically there. So, you know, the JPEG view may be something that you might want to consider looking at immediately because it's going to present this to you. When we go back to PDF real quick, you can actually do that in there, but it's like an additional step. So I do like this, the way that it does present it. And also, this JPEG view seems to give you a whole lot more tools, as you can see that I'm identifying here for you. And again, because I've looked at this a little previously, you can under, let's see, what's the one toolbar? Let's do this one here. Let me do this one here because this is the item that I definitely want to show you. One thing I like about a lot of databases is you do want to see and look to find if they have the ability for you to email the document that is discovered to your email address. So if we click on this, you can see a whole lot more of tool items here. And if I'm not mistaken, let's see, share. This one here is the share button. Click on that, and as you notice, it does indicate in this case that this product should be able to share this data with you as an email. However, I have bad news for you for a report right now. We are in the process of going back to the vendor because we have discovered if you actually get this far in a process and try to email to you, you won't get anything. So I'm hoping that we will get that corrected, and that at least by me making you aware of this potential capability, if you come back to this product, the email function of sharing will have been corrected by that time. But unfortunately, I'm glad I did discover it to be able to share that with you, that where you think it's there, unfortunately, it's not. But again, I'm going to let you browse through all of these various tools that exist. Uh, when you notice that we saw that the email function is not there, one thing that I would suggest that you consider doing is, if you can't email any of this data to yourself, always look for a share button or something that's a save button. So click on that, and it does, as you can see, allow you to be able to save this image in a variety of ways to yourself. Save as a PDF, save as an image, add to treasure box. That's something that is unique to newspaperarchives.com. When you are, in essence, established yourself with a free account, you can do that readily up here. When you do that, the treasure box comes into play, because then you can save your images that you think are appropriate for your research into the treasure box. So again, just to make sure, if you want to send something to yourself, look for that capability and try it. We hope to get this one resolved. Short of not being able to email to yourself, always look for a save button that will at least allow you to save the image in some fashion on a flash drive to yourself, so that you can have it with you and then use it at home. So lots of things here, as I'm saying, a cut tool, a zoom in tool, click on that. You know, you're going to zoom the image in, and then you're also going to have this little right-sided image that you can move it around also, as you can see. More items here show the navigator, show on-screen buttons or not, and all of these things here that I haven't even gone through. But the JPEG viewing process of newspaperarchives.com, lots of tools, as you can see. Let me go back. I want to just simply make you aware of the PDF version again. And I think I'm leaning more towards suggesting you view things in JPEG version. The PDF version, as we see when the image reappears, it doesn't have quite as robust of a toolbar potential. And the one thing I actually noticed here right off the bat is, when I was looking around at the variety of things that are here, I could not find anything that indicated as a possibility to email to yourself. You can print, you can download. So again, that capability is here, but nothing as a one button email to myself command that I saw present here. So the JPEG, sort of, I buy into that view a little bit more with the database that's presented here. As I did mention to you previously, when you are looking at the image in PDF view, you don't really see any of the last name that I used as a search term highlighted in the text, as we saw in the JPEG view. But you can, if you do use the PDF view, you can go to this little, what looks like a magnifying glass, but it's actually a little search box that it's going to trigger a search box. And as you can see here, if I highlight all and then type in my last name, you're going to see that, yes, it does highlight it, so that you can know exactly what it is that you're looking for. Not a very good I actually don't know if the color isn't very good for me. I like the yellow a little bit better. I'm not sure if this has the capability to change the color, but again, if you do use the PDF version, you're not going to see your name highlighted, but you can do that by doing an extra step. So that is available for you here. I do also want to make you aware, as when we started here, you saw that the search box was the default and you could enter stuff in, but there is some abilities up here to also duplicate that process. So if we click on search up here, you're going to see it presents you with a little bit of a different, you can sort of do your pre-filtering up here if you choose. I'm also a big believer in you want to do your searching from the most general and see what the results are and then filter. So yes, I could do my last name here. Yes, I can do all of these additional combinations. Yes, I can do an exact date of a newspaper if you happen to know that, which is good. You'll immediately get that one and only result. Or if you want to do it between certain dates, you fill in all these various fields and keep going. And now you can even filter in here prior to your actually doing the search. What country do you want? And I would say this is not a bad way to do this too. If you're only interested in doing United States research, as you can see, it presents you with a list of countries from which the newspapers originate from, and you would select United States. Then you could come here and select, I'm only interested, let's say if I want to do Illinois or any individual state. Here though, you can see you can only select one state. And this would be another way to do your search. But I sort of do like the way that newspaperarchive.com just presents you with a search by first name, last name, and enter that in, and then see how it's already presented to you what the own filtering process has been for that. So this is still good, but again, just want to make you aware of the multitude of ways you can search through the data that's here. All right, so going back to the PDF of what we've got, we've gone over, I'm going to give you a little bit of a summary here. We've gone over how you access this database. You're going to go to our schaumburglibrary.org website. You're going to select research in genealogy from the home page, which will get you to another subgroup of history and genealogy. One more click will get you to that piece of information. You'll select the database of interest. You'll enter in your Schaumburg Township District Library's card number that's been issued to you and the PIN number. That will allow you to gain access to newspaperarchive.com from home. You'll be presented immediately with a search box. I say become familiar with everything that's on the first page itself first before you start searching. When you've done that, start your search. Enter in the name that you're looking for, or you can enter in a keyword at that point. See the results. Look at the results by relevancy. Look at the results in date order by oldest to youngest in terms of most recent, or vice versa. Look at how newspaperarchive.com presents information to you in its own filtering process by country, by decade, and so on, and make your selections. Select further if need be. When you select just United States, you can select an individual state at that point. So I say that newspaperarchive.com is a very powerful tool that you definitely want to take advantage of if you have any United States research. And as you saw when we did Illinois, if you're doing Chicago, Cook County in our own area, you'll have access to lots of material both from the city of Chicago itself as well as the suburban areas. And it might be a great span of years. For some individual towns, it might be a narrow span, but it's certainly well worth taking a look at. So again, this is something that's well worth checking out and taking advantage of. You have heard me say that I definitely like this database. I think when you give it a try, you also will like the database. So I think I'm going to be wrapping it up now. I thank you so much for coming to visit me and the screencast and for what information that I can share with you about a resource that's readily available to you as a Schaumburg District Library cardholder that I think is a very powerful genealogical research tool. So definitely come on back again because I certainly plan on doing some other screencasts in the future on the other variety of genealogical database resources that we have. And I would definitely appreciate any feedback that you can provide on my screencast. When the screencast is completed, it will be uploaded to our Schaumburg Township District Library's YouTube channel where you can access it. There is a genealogy section of the YouTube channel that we have that already currently has a couple of screencasts out there today, one of which I would also suggest you may want to take a look at. It's a tour of the Schaumburg Township District Library genealogy blog that I author, and it shows you there too as a resource all of the things that are available to you to tap into from all the material that I publish at that blog. So I encourage you to come back not only for future screencasts, but also check out our YouTube page for genealogy material and come back and visit my blog. Thank you guys so much again for spending your time here with me. Looking forward to doing another one for you soon. Thanks so much.